Hey guys, this is lesson 3B. Again, we're breaking lessons into A, B, and C from now on because the way I teach, I'll teach one part exercises, I teach the second part chords, and the third is your modes, scales, and your theory. Alright, so far we've looked at the formula for a major scale. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. There are 7 notes in music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then the octave. There are 12 total notes in music going chromatically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. If we look at the major scale or the Ionian mode, it had a pattern. 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2. All right. And we looked at our exercises, and those are just a 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern. That you're going to practice around the entire fretboard and back down, and using that alternate picking. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. All right, see our chords so far. We looked at the C major, open C major. We looked at the open A, open G, open E, and open D. All right, so today's lesson is on bar chords. And all a bar chord is instead of having open strings or notes in an open chord, you would bar those with your first finger so you could move that shape up the neck. So let's start first with the C chord. All right, there's your C, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, 1 open. So we want to keep that same shape and move it up the neck, 1 fret. We have to take our first finger and bar the 1st fret. Now that'll bar the 1st and 3rd strings, which were open on the open position C chord. So you're going to bar the 1st fret. You're then going to play the root with your pinky, which will be here on the 4th fret. The ring right behind it. So if you think about a C chord, 3, 2, open, 1. That's on the 2nd string there. And then the 1st string and the 3rd string, you're playing with the barred finger. So it sounds like this. All right, so if we move it all down a half step and play the open position again. All right. So instead of playing it like this with the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st finger, go ahead and start with the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd finger. So that's a C chord. If we move it up a half step and bar the open notes, this will be a C sharp major chord because the root here is on the C sharp, 5th string. Move it up again. This is a D major chord, right? The lowest note is on the D here. D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, and so forth. So we can move that shape, or what's called a C form bar chord, because it looks like an open C chord. It's shaped like an open C chord. It's called a C form bar chord. So again, it's shaped like an open C chord. And we're just barring the open notes and moving that shape around the neck. So first you want to be able to get to where you can bar that. All right. And practice just moving it around the neck. And again, the name of the chord changes wherever the root here on the 5th string is located. So in the open position, that's the C, C sharp, D, and so forth. So that's your first bar chord. And again, it's called the C form bar chord. It's a major chord, and it's a bar chord that's shaped like an open C chord. Hope that makes sense to you. All right. Now we go to our next open major chord, which is the A form. All right, it's open A on the 5th string, 2, 2, 2, and then open on the 1st string. So we want to bar this shape. We move up our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger. We're going to bar the 5th and 1st string with your 1st finger here at the 1st fret, which would be A sharp. That would be an A sharp major. So let's go back to the open A. That's an A because the 5th string open is A. If we bar the 5th and 1st string, then that's an A sharp. That's a B. That's a C. C sharp. D. D sharp. E, F, and so forth. So you want to practice just playing that A form shape as a bar chord and practice moving it around the neck. Now this is one of the most common bar chords you're going to use in music that's based on the 5th string. You know, you can play the C form with this root on D here, or you can play the A form. All right. Most likely you're going to play either the A form or a variation where you bar with your ring finger here. But you want to practice taking that open A form, A chord, barring the open notes, the 5th and 1st string, and moving it around the neck. So you want to practice just moving that shape around the neck and get really familiar with it. And again, this would be called an A form bar chord because it's based on the open A. So here on the 3rd fret, 5th string, that's not an A chord, that's a C major chord, but it's an A form bar chord. It looks like the open A, but you're barring it. All right, the next one is G, and now this one's a little hard if you don't have big hands like me. So if you think of the G chord, we'll start with our ring finger here on the G, the 2nd finger on the B on the 5th string, and then the pinky on the high G on the 1st string. So if you take your open G major chord, and again you've got the open 4, 3, and 2. If you move that up a fret, you're going to bar those 3 strings with your 1st finger. Again, it's a good stretch. So this will be a G sharp, A sharp, B, C, wherever this lowest note, the root is, but it looks like a G chord. All right, it looks like an open G chord. So open G, if you bar it, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, wherever the root is the name of that major chord. But it's a G form bar chord. It looks like an open G chord. All right, next is the E major. And again, this is one of the most common bar chords you're going to use when playing if your root is on the 6th string here. So if we play the ring, pinky behind it, and then your middle finger on the 1st fret, 3rd string, to play your E major chord. If we move it up and bar the 6, 2, and 1 strings, there's an E form bar chord based on the E major shape. Now it's an F chord. Now it's an F sharp. Now it's a G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, and so forth. You want to practice just moving that shape, that E form bar chord around the neck. All right, so this is E major. This is a bar chord that's in the form of an E, an E form, but wherever your lowest note is the name of the chord. So that's an F, G, A major. And then the last one is based on your open D chord. If you remember it has the open 4th string, D, 2, 3, 2. So if we play our middle finger, ring finger on the 2nd frets, the pinky to play the 3rd fret, that's a D. If we bar that, the open 4th string now on the 1st fret, that's a D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. All right, you're not going to play this one much when you play, but you may. And all these shapes will show you where your arpeggios are later, so it's important to know. So again, open D chord can be turned into a bar form by barring the open note with your 1st string and moving that shape up and down the neck. Now, how is that important? you may or may not have heard of the CAGED system. If you take the open C chord and bar that and make a C form, that's your C form. Your open A chord, barred, is an A form. Your G, barred, is a G form. Your open E, barred, is a E form. And then your D barred is an E form, or D form, sorry. That spells CAGED, C, A, G, E, D. And here is how it works. Let's say no matter what chord you start with, on this example we're going to start with an open C. So if I wanted to play all 5 positions of C up and down the neck, all right, here's how to do it. Most times if you say play a C chord, you're going to play an open position. But you don't always want to play an open position. And if you've got more than one guitar player in your band, you both don't want to be playing the same version of the C. You want to be playing different versions of the C chord, right? So it sounds a little fuller. So your first C would be the open C chord. And it's the C form, and it's just open C major. Your root is here on the C, E, F, G, A, B, C. All right, on that root, now you're going to come up and bar on the 3rd fret and play an A form. Looks like an open A chord, but you're going to bar it here at the 3rd fret. Same root on the 3rd fret there, E, F, G, A, B, C. That is a C major chord, but it looks like an A. Right, it's a C major A form. So we got C, same root, play the A form. Where these 3 fingers are playing the same note right behind each other, you're going to bar those next and play the G form with your root here on the C. E, F, G, A, B, C. And that's where you're going to play that G form. So we got C form, we got A form, we got G form. 5th string root, 5th string root, same root, 6th string root. All right, next, what comes after in the word CAGED? C, A, G, E. So on the same root on the 6th string, C here, you're going to move it and play the E form bar chord, which is now a C major, but an E form bar chord at the 8th fret. Same root as the G form. So let's go back. We got the C form, we got the A form, we got the G form, we got the E form, and then on the octave here of C, on the 4th string, we're going to move up. So where your pinky is on the E form here, you're going to play the D form here. All right, that's the D. Looks like an open D chord, right? You bar it on the 10th fret there, 4th string, and that's a C chord. So if you want to play all 5 chords of any chord, this one the C, you play the C form, the A form, the G form, the E form, and then the D form, CAGED, the word CAGED. Now, at 12th fret, it restarts. So it goes back to the C form, the A form, again, it's real hard to play here, in the G form, and so forth, E form. So it loops back around. So C form, A form, G form, E form, and D form. And you want to learn those backwards. D, E, G, A, and C. So you just want to practice playing through that CAGED system. Spelling the word CAGED in form. C form, A form. Both have the same root here on the C. G form and E form both have the same root here on the 6th string, and then the D has the root on the 4th string. All right, now if we look at a little thing I've got made, hopefully this will, make sense to you. So we have the the C form here. All right, so open, you have the C form, 3, 2, open, 1, open. Then you come up and you bar at the 3rd fret here, and you play the A form. Then you bar these 3 notes, and you play the G form. All right, then you come up and bar here, and you play the E form. And then the last one is the D form. Here on the 4-string root, you play the D form. So hopefully you can see that. You have the C form, 5th string root on the 3rd fret, the A form. You bar here with your 1st finger. Your root is now on the 6th string C. Then you move up to the E form. And then the octave of C here on the 4th string is your D. All right, and then it repeats the C here, and then it goes A and so forth. And that is called the CAGED system. The C form, bar chord leads to the A form, to the G form, to the E form, to the D form, and then it repeats. All right, so that is all 5 positions now of your C major chord. So anytime you have a C chord in a song, you can play any of those versions you want. You can play the open position, you can play the 3rd fret bar, you can play the 8th fret root here on the C with G form, you can play the E form of it, or you can play the D form. Another thing you can do, you could have your rhythm guitar player playing the open C, and then somebody else could be up here playing the arpeggiated or all right, so now you have 5 versions of the C major chord instead of just one. All right, hopefully you understand that. C, A, G, E, D. Those are forms of bar chords that link together. All right, so once you get that understood, I just showed you how to play 5 versions of 12 different chords on the neck. So you just learned 60 chords. You learned every major chord and every position on the neck just then. We just learned the 5 C chords. All right, what about A chords? Well, you think about your open A, that's the lowest chord you can play, and A is open. What comes next in A on the CAGED system? A, G, you bar those 3, there's your G form of A. The root is here on the A now, 5th string. Then the E form, then the D form, and then you bar there and play the C form now. So that's the 5 positions of A. You have A, G, E, D, and the C form. There's 5 A chords. So it's still CAGED, C, A, G, E, D in order. The C will now jump to the end, so it'd be A, G, E, D, and C. There's 5 A chords. What about the G's? Well, the lowest G would be the open G chord. So you think the CAGED, that's the G form there, G. Then here you do the E form. Then here you do the D. And then the C. And then the A. So there are 5 G chords. The G form, the E form, the D form, the C form, and the A form. What about open E? All the E chords. You start with the open E, which is an E form. Then you play the D, then the C, then the A, then the G. There are 5 E chords right there. E form, D form, C form, A form, and G form. What about the D chords? You have an open D as the lowest chord. Then you're going to go to the C form, then the A form, then the G form, then the E form. There you go. There's all your D chords. Now what about the chords in between? The F sharps, the B, the A sharps, the D sharps. Well, if we want to play all the Fs, the lowest F chord would be an E form. All right, so there's an F, is E form, then the D form, then the C form, then the A form, and then the G form. There's all 5 Fs. F sharp. The lowest F sharp would be an E form again. E form, D form, C form, A form, and G form. There's all your F sharps. G sharp. The lowest one would be a G form. G, E form, D form, C form, A form. So there's all your F sharps. A sharp, it would be an A form. A, G form, E form, D form, C form. There's all your A sharps. Your Bs, your lowest B would be an A form. Then G form, E form, D form, and C form. There's all your Bs. C sharp, the lowest C sharp would be a C form. A, G form, E form, and D form. So you just learned 60 major chords. Anytime you want to play a chord, then you want to know all 5 positions of where you can play that chord. And if you've got more than one guitar player, you don't want to all be playing the same position. All right, this is one voicing of C. This is another voice. So you can be playing multiple voicings of the same chord. Those are the same notes, the 1, 3, and 5 of the scale. So I hope that really shows you, one, what the CAGED system is and how it works. Because once you learn all 5 positions of a major chord, which I just showed you how to play 60 chords in all positions on the neck, and again it just repeats at the 12th fret, then you get it. We're going to learn all the minor chords, 60 minor chords. We're going to learn 60 minor 7 chords. We're going to learn 60 major 7 chords. We're going to learn 60 dominant 7 chords. We're going to learn 60 minor 7, flat 5, and diminished chords, and so forth. So once you learn the CAGED system, then it's easy to take that, the majors, and turn those into minors, and minor 7s and major 7s and so forth, once you have that understanding of the CAGED. Again, it's C form, A form, G form, E form, and then D form. And that's the CAGED system. All right. See you in the next lesson, which will be 3C, and that'll be going over our Dorian mode and the theory with our first 2 modes and first 2 chords in a key.